Hello. My name is Lanice, and on this channel, I do cool little nursing videos. However, today, if you read the caption, it is not a cool little nursing video. Today is going to be more, I guess you would consider it lifestyle content because it has to do with my own personal lifestyle. And I'm going to be talking about how I became a owner of a firearm. I don't want to use the G word because I don't want YouTube to flag me or think I'm promoting violence or anything. But as a female in this world, I do feel like we have to stay safe, stay protected. And I did purchase my first firearm. Go over the things that I did before I ever purchased my first firearm, what I wanted to know, what I learned before I went and bought my first G word. So anyways, but let me make sure I introduce myself to everybody. So my name is Lanice. I am a nurse and I normally do nursing content. If you are new here, please subscribe to my channel, whether you're into nursing or you're into lifestyle, because I am a single woman. I am 35. I am single, but I feel like I live a blessed life, and I kind of just capture it and just, take you guys along the way with what I am learning in my personal life. Hence the reason why I am learning how to stay safe and getting my first, don't play with it, don't play with it, don't play with it. Baby, don't play with it. You know what I mean? I do all sorts of content. Subscribe to my channel. If you are not new here, thank you for tuning in to another one of my videos. So anyways, we will get straight to the point. This light is getting hot. This sweater is getting hot. It is hot in North Carolina right now, y'all. Today I got in my car and had a sweater on, and it was 82 degrees. And the sun wasn't even out because it has been pretty cloudy and rainy over the weekend and the last few days. All right, I know I have been recording for a minute and I ain't even talked about the point. So I recently purchased my first firearm, and we will start by me telling you what type of firearm I did purchase, and then we'll just go into the steps that I took before I purchased my first firearm. So this here, I'm like 100% into gun safety. It does not have a magazine in it, and I'm not gonna get up here. It's empty. I have stuck my finger in there. It is completely empty. I'm not pointing the gun at you. I'm pointing the gun at the camera. So don't think that I would ever point a gun at a person. But this here is the M&P Shield Plus. So it's a 9mm gun, semi-automatic, and I'm not gonna act like I know a lot about guns, and we'll get into all of that too. I'll tell you about what I'm learning about guns, but this is a 9mm, and I like my gun. I have shot it a few different times. I did get a membership to the gun range just for the moment, so I can go and continue to practice and feel safer with my gun, because as you can see, it doesn't have the magazine in it. I don't keep a magazine in it at all. I keep my magazine loaded. So I do have my magazine here. It can hold 13, but another thing we'll get into is loading, because it's not fully loaded. I probably shouldn't be telling anybody that, but yes, I got this gun, and I like it. I like how it shoots. I feel like the more I shoot it, the more comfortable I feel with shooting a gun. So yeah, so this is my gun, y'all. This is my gun, and I'm probably not gonna touch it anymore for the rest of the video, because like I said, I am very big into gun safety. It's one thing I do not want to be lax about at all. So if you see me looking down, if you're new here, you don't know that I try to write everything down because I talk a lot. So just give me a second to find my notes for this video. BRB. Okay, so I will kind of just give you my own personal history with firearms. So I had never shot a gun. I am 35, like I said. I hadn't shot a gun until I got into my 30s, but I did grow up around guns. My dad, he did have guns in the house. He did not keep them locked up. It was by the grace of God that I didn't get just too curious, because I was a very nosy kid. I did a lot of snooping as a kid. That was me. I was Harriet the fucking Spy, okay? So I did go snooping and saw, you know, he had a gun in his nightstand, but I just had I knew like, this ain't nothing to play with. So I didn't play with the gun. It was just something that I always knew. But should he had him locked up? More than likely, because I was a nosy ass kid. So I did grow up around guns, and then whenever I was an adult in my mid-20s, I moved in with my parents, and of course they had a lot of guns in the house then, but I still had never shot a gun. I always thought of myself to be very careless and very clumsy, so I just felt like I was never the type of person that should have a gun, and I think that was just a lot of fear. But now I live in to me, what is considered a large city. It's not New York, it's not LA, but I do live in a fairly large city in the South. I am African American, and I do feel like as a woman, I need to do everything that I can to keep me and my child safe. And so I just felt like, okay, now is the time for me to at least try to protect my home. And I decided that, I talked to my dad about it, and he was like, I think it would be a good idea. And once I got his okay, not that I was waiting on his approval, but once I felt like he kind of trusted me enough to go ahead and do it, I was like, okay, I need to trust myself enough to go ahead and go ahead and purchase my first firearm. So that's that, and on top of the fact that I wanted to protect my home, but I also do like a lot of running, and when I go running on trails and stuff, sometimes I can't really hear everything that's going on, and sometimes you'll start a run and you won't even realize that you've been running so long, and sometimes by the time you get back to your car, it's dark outside. Like, it's just so many reasons and so many things that you got to just kind of be prepared for as a woman, whether it's carrying mace, carrying a pocket knife, carrying a safety. I also have a safety key ring. You can get them on Amazon. They have all sorts of stuff. They have like a mace holder on there. They have like this poker. I actually took that to the airport with me for some reason, and I forgot that I usually take my keys off the key ring, but I forgot, and they took my poker. I always get caught up at TSA. I be forgetting I be having weapons. I be forgetting I be carrying weapons sometimes, because they took my knife too. Like, I forgot I had a knife in my purse, and they took that at TSA. But anyways, so going on, I just really felt like I really needed to try to protect myself. So the first step that I took in trying to purchase a firearm was, first I wanted to get to know more about guns. So I called up my friend that knows absolutely everything on guns. He is an engineer. He can build a gun. He takes pieces off of his guns, and he knows everything about guns. So I got in touch with him, and he basically just showed me basic gun safety. And that is very important. Like, you want to know basic gun safety. You want to know the parts of the gun. You want to know why the gun, how the gun works. You want to know as much as you can on gun safety. So he taught me that. He took me to the range, and since he owns several firearms, we went to the range and he allowed me to shoot several firearms, so I can kind of see, okay, a 22 is smaller, has, it's going to have a lot of kickback, a 9. He just kind of showed me what it felt like, so I can make an informed decision on what size gun I wanted, what brand gun I felt like felt better, because anybody can suggest a gun to you, but you want to get the gun that feels the best to you. So he allowed me to shoot a few different guns. We rented a few different guns while we were at the gun range, and I felt like I got a really good feel of what it was like to touch a gun. I felt like I learned the different, steps in firing a gun. I felt like I was able to start to develop a good stance. I felt like I was really getting to learn the gun when he took me to the gun range twice. And then after that, I took a class, because I also have a friend who is interested in purchasing her first firearm. So we went and we took a concealed carry class. So that is going to get into number 2. I wanted to make sure I knew the laws in my state whenever it came to owning a gun and what was considered concealed, because I live in the state of North Carolina. So in North Carolina, in order to purchase a gun, you have to have a permit. In the county that I live in, I want to say the permit they're $20 a piece, and I think you can have 2 at a time. I can't remember how many you can buy at a time, but the permit just allows you to carry the firearm, have the firearm in your home. You can carry it in your car, but it cannot be concealed, which means it can't be in a locked compartment. It can't be up under the seat. It has to be somewhere that when somebody comes in your vehicle, it can be just it can be seen. Basically, it can also be in your trunk too. But in order to purchase a firearm and not carry it concealed, you just need a permit, and that doesn't require taking any type of class or anything. So you can do that, or if you want to be a concealed carrier, you have to take a concealed carry class here in the state of North Carolina. So my friend and I, we went and we took that class. Now, here in North Carolina, the length of time that it takes to get the gun permit is like that same day. My friend went and turned in all her paperwork, and they approved her for a gun permit that day. They're able to do the background check and everything. So you have to have a background check because you cannot be a felony, of course, in order to purchase it. You can't be a felon if you want to purchase a gun. You can't have any felonies. And so they do a background check or whatever. So we did that. We both got permits to purchase guns, and then we also applied for our concealed. Now, for some reason, the county that I live in, I don't know if it's the county or the state, but whoever is doing the concealed permits where I live, they are extremely behind, because it takes 6 months to get your concealed permit or whatever. And we just took the class back in September, and I think it cost me $125 to apply, but I didn't pay that right away because I wasn't too hell-bent on getting my concealed right then, as long as I had a permit to purchase the firearm. So that's what I did. I went on and got a permit to purchase and did my paperwork, turned that in. So now I'm currently waiting on my concealed. But yeah, so that was the second thing that I did. I learned the gun laws. The concealed class was very thorough. If I can find some footage, I'll insert some of the footage, because I did record, even though it was way back in September. I'm just deciding to do a video on, the process that I've been going through. But if I can, I will insert some clips here and of the class. But the class was very thorough. It was an all-day class. In the first portion of the class was a sit-in class, and my homegirl just happened to know a guy who does the classes. He did not charge us a lot. A lot of the places here in North Carolina are charging like $150, if I'm remembering correctly. I didn't write all this down. But a lot of places, like if you go to Blackstone, which is a large gun range here, if you go to like these real high, I guess prestigious, I don't know, it's not even prestigious, I don't know what word I'm looking for. I have some brain fog going on. But if you go to one of these places that are lavish and expensive, then of course they were charging like $150, $200. But my friend's guide only charged us, I want to say $95, and he also supplied us lunch. Like, he also provided us lunch. It was Jersey Mike's. Like, I'm like, yo, of course. And we were the only 2 in there, so the class kind of it was catered to us in our own learning style. Like, he made sure that we really knew what we were reading. And they gave us this manual, the concealed, can you see it? They gave us this manual, the concealed carry handgun training, and it just kind of has all the laws. And so he also invited a lawyer. The lawyer came and talked to us and kind of went over some of the laws whenever it comes to carrying concealed in North Carolina. And I just feel like that was a really good class. I feel very confident in the knowledge that I learned, because I didn't even know what it really meant to have, concealed carry. Like, I didn't really know what that meant. So I'm glad you have to take the class to get the permit, but I'm glad I took it. But yeah, so that was the second thing I did. I learned the laws. So what I kind of touched on in point number 1, or in the history, when I was telling you my homeboy took me to the gun range and we shot several guns. Once I got that portion, the laws and the education and the like applying for the permits, once I did that and I felt comfortable saying, okay, I'm really gonna purchase a G-Word, I then went and did more research with the types of guns I wanted to. I did more research, like I did more thorough research on the types of guns that I felt like were best for me. Like this time when we went to the gun range, I was taking notes on every single gun that I was purchasing, like how it felt in my hand, how many times the gun jammed, how much, you know, did I like the if it had too much recoil, do I feel like it was not as heavy, it wasn't too heavy to carry on my hip whenever I was running, how much did the gun cost. Like I wanted to get into every detail of the guns to really decide which one I wanted to purchase. So that would be step number 3. I'm sorry I'm all over the place, y'all, but step number 3 would be to do the research on your guns as far as what feels good to you. Like what do you want in a gun, really? So for me, a couple of things that I know this is going to be very controversial to anybody that's in the gun community and knows a lot about firearms when I say this, but one thing that I just had to have on my gun was a safety. I have no clue why that provides me so much more comfort in having my gun, but I needed a safety on it. That was like the number one thing. So in the M&P Shield, it does have a safety on it. And so I'm grateful for that. But anybody else that's really into guns, they will tell you like, oh, what do you need the safety for? That's just another step, blah, blah, blah. I understand. But let me get there first. Let me get there. I'm not there yet. Things that I focused on whenever I was doing my research on the guns were price. I knew that I couldn't spend $600 on a gun right now. I knew that I wanted to spend $400 or less on a gun, which my gun was $399, or maybe it was like $375 because I think I got like a 15% discount. Altogether, I paid $411 for my gun after taxes. So I knew that I had a price range. I knew that I wanted a 9. I decided to go with a 9 because I felt like it was enough to take somebody down if they were to come into my house or if I were to get caught up on the street. But it's also small enough to conceal. Like my gun, I'm sorry, I don't know how much it weighs, and I don't want to like play with the gun, but it's not heavy. I also wanted to consider the size of my hand. So just again, so everybody knows, this gun is completely empty. There's nothing in here. But I wanted to know like how it would feel in my hand as far as is my hand, when I put the magazine in here, both of my hands are still able to fit on the gun. Whenever I hold the gun and I fire, like I don't feel like the gun is too heavy either. But again, I don't know everything about guns, so I'm just going off of what made me feel good about the gun. But I knew I wanted a 9 because of the size. I went with the M&P because when I did my research, like it's just a tried and true gun. Like it's kind of like, I guess, the Lexus of guns. My friend said that the Glocks were the Hondas, so I guess no, this is the Toyota of guns. You know, a lot of M&P stands for military and police, so you see a lot of police officers carrying M&Ps. You see a lot of military people in the military carrying M&Ps. So it's like, it's a good brand. If anything were to go wrong with the gun, it has a good warranty on it. And if anything, if I were to need to replace something on the gun, it wouldn't cost me that much. So I guess like parts, just like when you're thinking about a car, like I bought a Toyota because I know that they're tried and true. They last a long time because I need something that I can put a lot of miles on, and I also need something that I can afford an oil change on or new parts on. And that's how it is with this branded gun also. So that was another thing that I considered whenever I was purchasing the gun. So once I got all my specs and everything on the gun, and I finally decided which one I want, I just went and purchased it. Like that was really all I did. So now that I've purchased it, I'm just trying to learn how to get more comfortable with the gun. As you can see, oh, I'm sorry, and let me make sure I also tell you, I also keep my gun, I also keep it locked. I know everybody's like, what good is it? But yeah, I gotta have a child, so I keep it locked up, you know. But I also want to feel more comfortable with it. And I also want to make sure that I trust that my child is not going to get curious with it. It's just a few things that I have to take into consideration when it comes to carrying a firearm. So I do keep it locked up, and then I do keep my magazine loaded, but I don't feel comfortable having a loaded gun in the house. And I know that is very controversial, but it's just taking me time. I purchased this in January around my birthday, and it is February 28th tonight. So give me about 5 or 6 more months and maybe I'll feel more comfortable with it. But right now, and I think that once I get a holster that guards the trigger, I feel way more comfortable keeping this gun loaded because the trigger will be blocked. Like, but that's a whole different story. So anyways, now one thing I do want to say, this is on topic because it's about the gun, but it's off topic because it's nothing I considered or I worried about when buying a gun. But loading a gun is so hard, y'all. So a few accessories, I'll go into that. So a few accessories that I do want for my gun are the holster that goes over the trigger to just, you know, keep it on the nightstand. I do want a holster that goes around my waist for whenever I go running. So anybody that knows anything about this type of stuff, please give me any suggestions down below. And I want a loader. I want a loader because, like I said, this magazine holds 13, but it only has 11 in it because my fingers were hurting so bad from loading this gun. As a matter of fact, I'm going to insert the clips of me loading my gun from the gun range the other day. And I'm going to insert the clip of my homeboy, who is a man whose hands are stronger than mine, and what it was like when he was loading it. And then y'all will see why I want a loader. I'm going to insert that right now. Okay, so now that you've seen that, y'all know why I want a loader. So those are really the only 3 accessories. Oh, and I want another case, like another lock for my gun. I want one that you just punch a code in, because this one is a key, and I don't need any extra keys to try to keep up with or try to figure out where I want to keep it. I just want something I can just put my fingerprint on and get it out real quick. So that is another accessory that I would like. I would also like some targets. There's this girl that I saw. She had something like a little game on her gun, just about too, where she put a target up in her room and she just was able to just shoot, like dry shoot at the wall. And I'm like, yo, I need that because I want to practice and get as good with it as I can. I also want to take some classes to learn how to draw and just be more spot on from different positions, because you're not always going to be standing and shooting. When somebody comes in your house and you're in the bed, you're laying down. You know what I'm saying? Like you're on the floor. You know, so I want to take some classes on that also. So another thing that you want, I think this is tip number 4, because yeah, number 1 was what was number 1? Number 1 was, I told you guys the history. I had never shot a gun before. Number 1 was learning basic gun safety, going to the gun range with my homeboy, learning the laws. I guess that would be number 2. And then after learning the laws, I really researched my guns to kind of figure out which one I wanted, which one felt the best to me, which one had all the specs that I needed, what specs did I need, what was in my price range, all those types of things. And then I also told you guys what accessories I wanted, but I also had to take into consideration, I guess this was still somehow, I don't know what number I'm on, but another tip that I would give you is to think about whenever you're purchasing a gun, think about where you're going to keep the gun. That would be another reason you want to know, do you need a smaller gun? Are you going to be carrying this gun in your purse? Are you going to be keeping this gun on your nightstand? Are you going to want to keep this gun on the inside of your thigh? Like, those are the types of things that you also want to think about whenever you purchase your first gun. So I'm not gonna tell you guys where I keep mine because I don't want anybody to know, but yeah, I don't want anybody to know where I'm keeping it. But anyways, I think I have rambled on enough. But one thing that I did want to touch on, like the whole point in me purchasing this was because I wanted to feel safe. But this is not the only thing that you can do to feel safe. Like, before I even went as far as to purchasing this, I first started off with an alarm system. Ladies, get you an alarm system on your house, on your apartment. I had my alarm system on my apartment because I was living on the first floor, and you could easily just walk up to my window and maybe come in. So, and my back door opened up to the public, basically. Instead of opening up into the house where I can put a stopper on it and kind of stop somebody from coming in, it opened up to the outside. So, that sucked. I was kind of paranoid about that all the time. So I started off with a simple alarm system with a good panic button. Make sure you got a panic button. I keep the panic button in my room. I also have bells on the door. Now, the bells on the door did not start with me was not because I was trying to be safe. The bells on my door are because I trained my dog to ring the bell on the door to let me know he has to go outside. But in the process of putting the bells on the door, I realized that there's no coming in the house or going out of the house without the bell ringing. Every time the door opens, that thing jingles. So at least that'll notify you if somebody is opening your door. Another thing I did was I changed the screws inside my door, because whenever you have the screws and the plate on your lock on your door, I think there may be 3 inches. Don't quote me, I can't remember, but you need a 6-inch screw in that door. So I replaced the screws and I replaced the plate on the door where the locks are, so nobody can kick my door. So my camera was just totally out of line and it just overheated on me. But anyways, I put bells on the doors. I changed the plates in the door so nobody can kick the door down. What else did I do? I had a knife, but that got taken at the airport, and I have another one, but it needs to be sharpened. My other one was sharp. I need some pepper spray. I keep forgetting to get it. What else do I do? Right now, that's all I can think of, but I try to do the best that I can to make sure that I keep it safe around here. I have cameras all over my house. I have cameras in the front, the back, the inside, cameras everywhere. I don't know, like, but I try to do everything I can because it's very important that we stay safe, because as a woman, we're not physically as strong as men. You can get your weakest man, and a woman still will not be as strong as him just off the fact that they are built strong. So they already have an advantage. And so you just have to do everything you can as a woman to equal the playing field if you are up against a man. I'm not talking, you know, so yeah, that's that. Anything else I need to touch on? Oh, one last thing I did want to tell you. I told you guys how I consider pricing But I do also want to let you guys know that you can buy used. The gun range that I am a member of has a good selection of used guns. So if you feel like maybe $400 was too much, or you're willing to spend $600 but you want something nicer, you can always buy used. So keep that in mind whenever it comes to considering price. But I think I have rambled on enough. I hope that this video was educational, informational. I hope you got what you needed out of it, and I hope that you enjoyed. Again, my name is Lanice, and I'm begging you to please subscribe to my channel because I just broke my TV in my office, and so I need to start monetizing off these videos, and I can't do that if I don't have subscribers or people watching. So help the poor, get a new TV, and it's very much appreciated. All right, so I'm gonna head out and I'll holler at you guys later. Peace.